who also can guide you what is happening in the neighboring state. Some states have done very well because historically they are closer to the export market. So they have learnt, but Odisha not being closer to the Middle East where the initial exports happen. So Odisha is now more or less a domestic player as far as food processing is happening. But it will take no time. Once you are strong domestically, it will take no time for you to be an exporter. So it's just a graduation of local market to domestic market, national market and to export market. Export market also is huge in food processing. In fact, when a Chairman Apida used to try and attend the food shows, the European used to say,
all right. Well, I've had marigold all my life with a hot cup of tea. The next one is snacks manufacturing unit of Jai Bharat Spices Private Limited at Ramdaspur, Cuttack. Known for its Bharat Masala brand products, has established a state-of-the-art stack manufacturing unit at Cuttack with an investment of around 50 crore. This unit shall produce several production department, Director of Industries. Known for its Bharat Masala brand products, has established a state-of-the-art stack manufacturing unit at Cuttack with an investment of around 50 crore. This unit shall produce several industries and state-of-the-art stack manufacturing unit at Cuttack with an investment of around 50 crore. This unit shall produce several. Thank you so much, ma'am. We would be now moving towards the technical session, but I would like to thank our esteemed dignitaries for the inaugural ceremony. And state-of-the-art stack to set the stage for the technical session, and of course, would like to thank manufacturing unit at Cuttack with an investment of around 50 crore. This unit shall produce several. Thank you so much, ma'am. We will be now moving towards the delay. So we would like to invite our panelists now for the session on Odisha and emerging sector. So with a round of applause, please welcome on dais Shri Mohammad Sadiq Alam, Director of Industries, Shri Smriti Ranjan Pradhan, Director of Fisheries, Shri Gautam Sharma, MD, Indo-Nissan Food, for exploring its potential inaugural ceremony and exemplary economic growth. And this session would definitely throw a light into how the local food products with specific brands to the global market can be taken. The Odisha government, how it is giving a major boost to large. The most advantages of doing business is concerned with a very regulatory business environment to extend support and facilitation to upcoming industries. Office India ILO, Shri Bidhan Das, Regional Head, Indian Institute of Packaging, and Shri Rajan Padi, MD, B1 Business House Private Limited. I will request Mohammad Sadiq Alam, the Director of Industries, who is also the CEO of Startup Odisha and Managing Director of OSIC, to present the welcome remarks, set the context for this panel, and take.
Our presentation is ready. Let's check it. At the end of my presentation, this will be very attractive. In fact, all might be waiting for that. What new policy has been offering, a bit of policy I will be also explaining to you in this occasion. So going into that, just if you look into the entire landscape, entire agro and allied sector landscape of Odisha, in 2021-22, let's take data of 21-22, the contribution of this sector was more than 20% to the GSVA. At the same time, our state has also witnessed a growth of more than 11% in the overall food grain production. But out of it provides ample opportunity, a very significant scope to grow, for growth, for further expansion and value addition. In this state, which actually very favorable variety of crops, vegetables, fruits, and spices in Odisha, which provide a wide range of raw material availability with abundant surplus with the state. And we have a long coastline of 480 kilometers and also more than 6 lakh hectare of inland water plus more than 4 lakh hectare of brackish waters. And that provides ample opportunity for the seafood processing sector. As far as we have a good presence of scientific and technical institution in the state. As far, like take example of OUT, which is the India's second skilled manpower for this sector to grow and expand. If you look at the infrastructure in general, with the help of IDCO, along with this industry department and MSME department together, almost more than 120 industrial estates are being in place with all the basic infrastructure. But still exclusively for the MSMEs, the MSME department thought that let's have dedicated MSME park in each of the district. And the government has taken a very conscious decision on that, and for which we are going to create a multi-product part of each and every district, and we can go more than one, depends on the potential of the district. Government also consciously decided that we should have also thematic sectoral based park. 7th largest flower produced in India. We are not only leading processor of these agriculture commodities, but we have also a very unique offering with respect of few agri commodities, which I am going to explain in the next slide. These are a very unique offering. Why you are telling unique offering? These are unique in taste and flavors, having a special quality which differ from others. Kuchinda chili has a very unique flavor and the pungency, has very spiciness and hotness as a chili powder. Coffee, Koraput coffee, again Arabica coffee has grown, it is grown in Koraput, has in fact picked up very well in the market. You can find this product in any of the supermarket across India. We have a very GI tag, this turmeric, which was also mentioned by Principal Rajwat in his opening remark. This is grown in Kandhamal, also part of the Koraput, having high curcumin value. And let me tell you, this turmeric is not only important for as a spice. Turmeric is also very important for the cosmetic industry, for the pharmaceutical industry. Hence, very good opportunities, all these unique products like ginger is also grown in Koraput, large, huge, in fact, opportunities in the fish and marine products. We have wild honey available in the Simlipal forest area, which is coming under Mayurganj district. And we have one of the state where this paddy straw mushroom are grown commercially. We are the single largest producer on this. It provides a very unique opportunities for all the food processing industries and investors to in fact invest and take this further. And it will be a very high value within India, and also it can be a very valuable for the as a. These are our GI products that is well known to everyone. I will just skip that. Further, one product will be coming GI tag very shortly. We are going to receive, that is palm jaggery, which has been produced by the all societies under Talaguda Shanga. We are not starting from this case. We have a very good base of MSMEs. They are also involved in this food processing. But so many are, as data says, we have more than 40,000 MSMEs. But obviously they are more, these are the large processors, which is a very good presence in the food processing sector. This I have already explained, I will skip that. Policy on this. Me also for industry, large industry. But we have made this policy exclusively for the MSME. Here the large industries will not cover. Large industry will get all the benefits. They have to refer the IPR. This is exclusively for the MSMEs. This is one. The second thing is that in our policy, this food processing has been declared as a priority sector. Also in the IPR, it has been declared as a priority sector. The next changes is we have not increased the percentage of CIS, also increased the upper capping. Such a significant, in fact, increase on the upper capping also here that you can see. In the Zelland category, the policy offers 30% with a capping of 3% with a capping of 3.5 crore. For anchor and food processing enterprises, the capping has been increased to 5 crore. For special category entrepreneurship, special category means SC, ST, women, PWS and a technical diploma holder. For the food parks, 20%, only 10 to 15%. 3 lakh also will be provided for the conducting ESDP program for 30 days certificate program in food processing conducted by ITI's government polytechnics ID with a capping of 100% net density with a maximum capping of 200%. But if the industry is going to set up on the busy economy corridor, this limit has been increased to 300% of the investment made on the plant and machinery. 100% exemption on stamp duty, 50% exemption for the private industry part, capping of 25 crore. And this environment-friendly infrastructure is that is new in the IPR, that is 25% with a maximum capping of 10 crore and 100% electricity duty exemption for a period of 7 years that has been offered by the IPR policy. I would request you go in detail about the policy. The policy will be available in the department website, and also you can get the copy with the department. Very shortly, we are also coming with the operational guideline that will be, this is a very attractive policy that is made by the government. This is all about I need to offer. There is a huge investment, as I said, opportunity in this sector. Now moving forward to the session, we have to discuss more and more in this the holistic aspect of the development of this food processing industry of the state. Glad to have the major players here with us today, and they will share their thoughts. We have 5 sessions today. To join us in this knowledge session are Sri Smriti Pradhan, a very senior IAS officer, very experienced IAS officer of Government of Odisha. For more insight to the industry player, we have a very eminent speaker today here, Ms. Dagmar Walter, Director ILO, Decent Work Team of South Asia and Country Office for India. She has over 20 years of her career with ILO, worked in several regions and duty stations across Africa, Europe, America, and now Asia. Contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals 2030, she strives to foster office efficiency and team spirit for integrated technical assistance to ILO constituents in collaboration with the stakeholders and the development partners. Ms. Walter holds a Master of Public Administration from SIS Graduate School of Public Administration. ILO is very closely working with, associated with the, she will be throwing light on very interesting topic, that is FDI and the private sector lead local development strategies for sustainable growth and better quality job, which is need of the hour. Next speaker with us is Shri Vidhan Das, Deputy Director, Indian Institute of Packaging, with 23 years of work experience, worked with a different organization in India and abroad, is a professional member of Institute of Packaging Professionals, USA since 2001. He has delivered more than 250 lectures in different national and international conferences and seminars. He is a member in various sections, emerging trends and technology in packaging for food processing sector. To complete the discussion and to provide an insight about the regulatory compliances and the certification in food processing sector, in Odisha we have Mr. Rajin Padi, Commercial Director, B1 Business House Private Limited, and Institute across the domains of quality control, product.
With a vibrant industrial ecosystem. I will now request him to give the keynote address.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On the onset, I welcome all the participants and dignitaries, business houses present today in the Make in Odisha Conclave 2022. The distinguished panelists and the guests on the dais, the Principal Secretary, Department MSME, and Director Industries, Mr. Sadiq Alam, and because, so here question is, I'm not giving you a job, I'm giving you alternative income. I'm creating an alternative income source for you. So that is the basic crux. That is why under the MSME department, we have come out with a specific policy of food processing. We want to see this sector rise to as far as possible. The more this sector rises, the more the common man of the state will get benefited. I'll give you a small example. There's a tribal district called Navrangpur, down south Odisha. Now that one single district in the common market at a dirt cheap price, which is not suffice for his agriculture, commercial agriculture. So what does he do? How does his livelihood? Corn starch is edible in everything, and it's got a huge market not only in India, globally. So that income which goes from the company who manufactures starch straight to that one tribal family whose livelihood 1 to 6 is highly nutritious. We have got jungles of jackfruit, nobody to exploit. Again, the same thing processed and turned into powder or can fetches a hell of a lot of value. Marine, fish, poultry, they are a high value product, they have got immediate shelf life and it will go out of the shelf and you will earn instant money. But these are things which will change the livelihood of not only one particular village or one particular district, but the entire state. The entire ecosystem will change. So this is where we stand, not only on making profit, but we also stand on social responsibility. That is where the government intervention comes in. And like we in Odisha today are following this 5T mantra, which will lead to transformation. Is concerned, government is always a welfare government, so we can say that we have done things. I don't mince words when I say even a prime minister has failed. If source the income of your own. So it is like giving opportunity to a tribal family who can earn his or her own livelihood. We have startups who are into agriculture and also into food processing. Food processing as such, we have come out with the policy. But this is one sector which is galvanized right from the top to the bottom. The market starts from home at the national level and can go on to the global level. We have already started the process. And gentlemen, last but not the least, who better than women can help us do that? This is one concept my Chief Minister has taken to the heart. And in Odisha, we have something called Mission Shakti, in which about 80 lakh women, that is 8 million women, are involved. And they are concentrated into small groups in every village, every panchayat. We have got about 6,728 panchayats in 314 blocks. Every village has got a WSHG, which is called a Women Self-Help Group. They are financed socially by various government schemes, and they are encouraged to become small entrepreneurs, micro-entrepreneurs. Now I am talking about those entrepreneurs. This policy will exactly direct any investor to these lady groups in every village. When I talked about Navrangpur, suppose as of today, one company is on the verge of starting production, known as Vijaka. If somebody is there from Vijaka, I don't know. But
thank you so much, sir, for your very insightful and inspiring address. I'll now request Shri Alam to take the discussion forward from where he left.
I extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to Honorable Minister for his kind presence and for kind address. Now I would invite our, before in fact inviting
Good afternoon, namaskar. I don't know what he spoke. I don't have a continuity of his presentation, but whatever I have understood, within this stipulated time period, my good friend, Director Industry, he has made the schedule of 10 minutes each for each speaker. I'll try my best. Presentation, small presentation. Minerals, vitamin D, vitamin B2, calcium, phosphorus, iron, zinc, iodine, magnesium and potassium. What not? What else you need for nutrition? You get everything in fish. That is why, because we need investors, and it's 2 years of pandemic, 2020-21. We need to meet the domestic market. Why I'm focusing on domestic market? Because all of us know export market is not reliable at times due to geopolitical reasons. It is happening, I don't want to name the country, but it is happening across the board. Exporters are sitting here, my friends are sitting here, they know what is happening to the export, especially shrimp export. So we need to exploit the domestic market if you want to process the fish or shrimp. We need to cater the need of the domestic market. We need to leverage the technology as well to cater to the need of the domestic market. We have a huge population in India, 1.35 domestic market. We have a huge population in India, 1.35 billion, little more than that, and 40 million as far as the state is concerned. And fortunately, this state, particular state, Odisha, we consume a lot of fish. Around 95% of the population consume fish. And our per capita. So this, for the sake of repetition only, I'm repeating, we have a huge coastline, 480 kilometers, 25,000 square kilometers of continental self area. We have huge potential for inland fisheries, around little more than 7 lakh hectare, ponds, tanks, reservoir. I am focusing on reservoir. That is why I have highlighted that particular point there. We have brackish water sources, very critical for our export industry, export food processing industry, export fish shrimp industry. We have done a study through ORSAC. They've mapped that around 3.15 lakh hectare feasible brackish water culture can be taken up in Odisha. Right now we're somewhere around 721, but 21-22 it is around 10 lakh metric ton. That is the fish production in the state. We are the 4th largest state in the country. Next, land lease policy. These are enabling policies to attract investors. Any reservoir more than 40 hectares of water area, the fishing right is with the fisheries department, Government of Odisha. Then these reservoirs can be leased out to entrepreneurs as well. I'll come to that. And a very nominal royalty, 10 rupees per hectare, 20 rupees per hectare, 30 rupees per hectare, something like that. So we can have a long-term leasing plan also. It is for 5 years minimum, can be extended for 10 years based on the performance. We take adequate conservation measures. Adequate conservation measures vital because during the breeding season we put a ban on the fishing. We don't allow any industrial effluent to go to the reservoir and spoil the water. So there are other things also. Now I'll come to cage culture, the most important avenue for investment. I believe 1% of the surface area of the reservoir. You can see the cage culture there up and running, and the first crop was out last month only. So if anyone is interested, you can go and visit the cage culture in Hirakud. And we are focusing presently on these 8 reservoirs, 4 major and 4 minor reservoirs. But we expect if all these 8 reservoirs, we can go for this 1% surface area cage culture, then our production will be added by 1,25,000. It's a very conservative estimate again, 1,25,000 metric ton. So this is a particular species we grow in the reservoir cage culture. We call it GIFT GIFT, genetically improved farm tilapia or pangasius. There are 2 varieties where we need investment to process this. Then I'm talking about the brackish water land policy. As per the policy, government land up to 50% earmarked for the investors. And the lease could be for a period of 15 years. And the premium is again very nominal, 10,000 rupees per hectare per annum. Next slide, please. we are a very responsible state as far as fishery is concerned. See this graph. The deep blue line is the fresh water, then the marine is the light blue, and the maroon is brackish water. The marine is almost constant, but see the growth in the fresh water and the brackish water. Our maximum sustainable yield is 2.92 pisciculture. We don't call it culture, in fact it's a capture. So that is why. Come to the second graph. See for the capture, the value is 56%, the export quantity is 36%. For the culture, the quantity export is 44%. I borrowed these particular figures from the MPEDA only, but I want to prove a point here. We have to go for culture. Capture is not going to sustain in long run. So deliberately we focus on brackish water culture as well as freshwater culture. Next slide, please. So why fish processing in Odisha? I think this is the most important slide for me. So one-stop solution, we are coming up with two aqua parks, one at Sambalpur, another at Balasar. Sambalpur to meet the freshwater Hirakud reservoir cage culture basically, and Balasar to meet the brackish water production basically. You will have everything there, very similar to seafood park Deras. And add to that, we have ICR organization, SIFRI, SIFA, CMFRI, all supporting us. Next slide. So I think I can skip this slide. It's a market size and growth, but the second point is important. With the growth in the global mobility, exposure to taste, purchasing power, cost effectiveness and health benefit, the demand of fish product, basically ready to cook or ready to eat or ready to serve, will increase. We have the demographic dividend with us. The young generation, they don't want to spoil time cooking. They want quality food, but processed food. So we have to give them quality and processed food and nutritious food. Next point. So here we stand. We are a major exporter of seafood to the entire world. We export to many countries, EU, USA, Japan, South Korea. We used to export to China also, but you know the reason. For some reason, geopolitical reasons, we are not exporting to China. Our share is almost 13% of the country as far as export is concerned. The seafood export, I'm skipping the next point, I'll come to the next point. So investment avenues it is for you only. Hatcheries, both shrimp, then we focus on cage culture in the reservoir, also on the we focus on cage culture in the reservoir, also on the sea, but I'll not speak about sea because it is not a stable technology as of now. Then value-added processing and packaging. Then value-added product development for domestic as well as international market. Let us explore the domestic first, then we'll go to the international market. Next slide. So we need organized sector here. Our retail sector is highly unorganized. Around 5%, 95% is unorganized, around 5% of fish and seafood retail business is organized. We need investment here to bring more organized sector into organized sector. Next slide, please. So these are few value-added products for RTC, RTE and RTS also. RTC, ready to cook, ready to eat and ready to serve as well. So I am not going to details of it. Next slide, please. So these are two important slides. I thought let me speak about it. There are two technologies coming up wherein we can process, we can get value out of the fish waste. So from waste, probably we can produce something which can be a feed for the chicken and also can be utilized for the pharma sector. Go to the next slide, please. So extraction of chitosan, we call it chitosan or chitosan. Sorry for the pronunciation, but chitosan from the shrimp waste. It can be used for the medicine. It can be used for developing a plant as a plant booster. It can be used for protein, which can be substitute for the soya, for shrimp, fish, as well as chicken feed. Thank you very much. This is the last. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shri Pradhan, highlighting our all opportunities and avenues in this sector to grow, and also highlighting the technologies and policy of the government. Odisha has always strived to provide a hassle-free business environment to enable businesses, entrepreneurs, by way of enabling that ease of doing businesses.
Shri Shashwat Mishra, Principal Secretary, MSME, Shri Siddiq, Director Industries, dignitaries on the dais, gentlemen, good and Air Asia and other airlines, and Top Ramen, which is bag type instant noodle product. Both of these brands we manufacture here in Khordha, in the food cluster in Khordha, near Bhubaneswar, since 2014. And I remember attending the first one in 2016, then the second one in 2018, and because of COVID, we had a little gap, and this is the third one in 2022. The pace of industrial development in Odisha is remarkable. I think that when you come after a few years, and you can realize the transformation that is taking place in Odisha. Mention is look at the progressive policies. Just now, Honorable Minister released the new food processing policy. Yesterday, in the plenary session, the industrial promotion policy was released. These are looking at, things many years in the future. And they are so well thought through, well structured and, designed that it's but natural that people will come and invest in Odisha. I'll just give you some numbers about our business, just to give you a sense of how we have expanded since we have come to Odisha. So, the cup noodles I just mentioned. Now we make almost 1 million cups every week in Khordha, 30 kilometers from here. It's a fantastic, modern, state-of-the-art plant, which can compare itself with any of our 36 manufacturing locations around the world. So, it's like Toyota coming and making the latest car. That's what we do. So, then, and now our Khordha plant manufactures 70% of our national volume of instant noodles. After this new policy, as considering a further expansion to 25,000 tons in Odisha. Now let me tell you a few stories about how on the topic of ease of doing business in Odisha. So we also have manufacturing which helps companies go to the US market. So they help Indian company, for example, to set up in the US market, and they take more than 19 days. So your Go Swift system is world class. It's, you can benchmark it to any country in the world, not only to other during the lockdown, because you can't survive for a long time without food. So then food processing became an essential service which was allowed, and the supply chain could work during that time. So we had to restart our factory. We had to get people to come to our factory. We had to get raw materials to come to our factory. Then we had to send the finished goods to the market so all of you could have something to eat. And then that time, the Odisha government was the most organized. So we had, within days and hours, we had a coordinated response from the government, not only for our company, but for all the sector of food processing. And it was totally different from what happened in Haryana and Karnataka during that time. So that's another story. Another one from later during the pandemic was once the vaccines came out, it was our responsibility to get everybody vaccinated. So in all our factories, we arranged vaccination camp. We tied up with a large national hospital chain to do vaccination camp. So we did the vaccination camp in our Karnataka factory, Haryana. When we came to Odisha, we asked, everyone said, we've already been vaccinated. So the government had gone and vaccinated all the people proactively in the entire area where our workers come from. It was, I mean, it's unique. The greatest transformation that I can see in the last 8 years that we've been here is in the quality of the technical manpower that we get. Okay. So when we set up our factory, that cluster was all the people set up at the same time. Britannia, who was just, today they launched their expansion. All the factories came up at the same time. And in the initial years, it was difficult to get trained technical manpower. I'm talking about 2012, 13, 2014. So during that time, we brought people from Karnataka and Haryana who were working with us to come here and train the people here and so on. And in a short period of 8 years, the situation has reversed. Today, we get the best technical manpower in Odisha. And we get the people, and then those people we send to other states to train the people there. This has been a transformative skill transfer reversal. Okay, it's a reverse brain drain. Like, we have talent here now, which we can use in other locations. So these were a few of, I just don't want to take more of your time, but Odisha is quite a special place. You should be very proud. I think the closest example, the similarity I can find, we are an Eastern company. We are from Japan. And so we have a lot of business in East Asia. And sometimes the stories about the miracle economies of East Asia, like Korea or like Thailand or like, Malaysia or like recently Vietnam, where there was a transformative industrial development. I think Odisha is on the same trajectory. And in the next 10 years, we might see very rapid transformation. And we are proud to be part of that journey of Odisha today and tomorrow. Thank you for inviting me. I hope it helped. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shri Sharma. We are glad to hear you, in fact, about the experience. And you have started your speech with ease of doing business, but your speech extended to cost of doing business and also about the governance. And all of you, we will travel through Indigo. You find the product, this cup noodle in the recipe of Indigo. So thank you very much for sharing. And also I thank for showing your trust and confidence on the state government and further expanding your business in Odisha. Now moving ahead, I will just tell you that Odisha, as a state taking leaps and bounds in the food processing sector, government's role is that an enabler and promoting these sustainable enterprises and creating better quality jobs. We are taking every possible step, but this alone cannot help unless the global leaders, FDIs, private players, and aggregators, all other stakeholders plays an important role to create this sustainable ecosystem. So with these words, I would invite our next speaker, Ms. Dagmar Walter, Director, Country Office, ILO, to deliberate on this very important aspect on the local development strategies for sustainable growth and better quality jobs. Thank you.
Esteemed Principal Secretary for MSMEs, dignitaries on the dais, state government officials, valued representatives from industry, business associations, colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar and good afternoon to you. It is indeed, of course, a great privilege and pleasure for me to be here and represent the International Labour Organization at this forum. And let me start by saying that maybe many of you here present wonder what the relationship of the International Labour Organization is with businesses because of its labor in the title and the name of the organization. So let me just briefly explain this. The ILO is the only United Nations agency which has a tripartite structure with representation from government, employers, or if you wish, business, and the workers. The ILO serves the interests of both businesses and workers, the key actors of the economy, right? And this is really to promote a conducive equilibrium necessary for a just and sustainable development. And in fact, the ILO has been doing this since the last 100 years, since its inception in 1919. Now, the food processing industry today assumes a lot of significance in driving economic growth as it links the primary producers in rural India to national and international urban markets. Being endowed with natural resources, long coastlines, and favorable climatic conditions for production of a variety of agri-produce, fruits, vegetables, and also marine family-run units that are highly labor-intensive to large capital-intensive and highly mechanized industrial processes. More food is being traded across borders than ever before. Faced with ever-thinning margins, companies are sourcing from low-cost suppliers around the world, the majority of whom are MSMEs. The suppliers often achieve low cost by compromising on working conditions and the environment. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, such management practices in the long run have rarely helped suppliers to sustain competitiveness. In many cases, it has been found to have negatively impacted the country's image as a reliable supplier or responsible destination for investment, with buyers or companies shifting to other geographical locations. The food industry is high price and quality sensitive. Scientific advances are increasing the purchasing ability of companies, consumers, and improving countries to detect hazards and identify risks in the supply chain. Advances in traceability are increasing accountability from suppliers and enabling companies to execute fast and targeted recalls if necessary. Traceability combined with social media is today giving consumers unprecedented transparency into the origins and ingredients of their food that they are consuming. Further, ladies and gentlemen, the European Union, China, and the United States are adopting stricter regulations for a directive, I should say, on corporate sustainability due diligence. Individual EU member states also have or plan to introduce national mandatory due diligence legislation. For instance, those required by those above regulations I mentioned. They are aiming for exceptional quality that distinguishes them from their competitors and build consumer trust and brand loyalty. Within the next few years, you will see that some 40 to 50,000 multinational enterprises in this sector will be required by law to reinforce and put new mechanisms in place to ensure that they and their suppliers will respect human rights, international labor and environmental standards in their operations. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, international labor standards are set by the International Labour Organization, by the tripartite constituency, the 187 member states, of which India is a founding member. While many may perceive international labour standards as a bane, it is a blessing in disguise because it provides level playing field globally to enterprises from different countries for trading and business dealings. At the firm level, compliance with international labour standards contribute to good working conditions for employees and is found to considerably improve productivity and performance. Ladies and gentlemen, the beneficial effects of labour standards do not go unnoticed by foreign investors as well. Studies have shown that foreign investors rank workforce quality and political and social stability above low labor costs in the criteria for choosing countries before making investments. The international labor standards are also increasingly being integrated into trade agreements, which cover all commodities, including food. Around half of the trade agreements, ladies and gentlemen, concluded last decade, that is from 2011 to 2020, contained labor provisions compared to only 22% the preceding decade. Now, against this backdrop, the release of the revised food processing policy by the state of Odisha, alongside a series of roadshow events such as this one that we are at today, and also Food Pro event that was held in July this year, and create an enabling environment for the production and strike a balance between the environment, people and labor regulations and businesses. For instance, like the minister was mentioning, Mission Shakti, this includes also cafes, is an innovative example of an local industry associations and food processing MSMEs in the state to strengthen knowledge of the trends in the food processing industry, regulations and international standards, infrastructure and sectoral business development models. MSME food processing enterprises in Korda and Cuttack districts are being trained and guided on upgrading shop floor operations using lean management concepts to improve productivity. In the next year, approximately 100 youth within the Institute of Entrepreneurship Development to start businesses in the food processing sector and link them to the supply chain. Here, the role of big companies is very critical, not only for bringing in investment in the state, but also for bringing in technology and mentoring the local enterprises on sourcing requirements. Investing in supplier development benefits the companies in the long run, as the food sector requires really reliable, quality, compliant and competitive suppliers. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the ILO program has organized several buyer and seller dialogues since January this year to bridge the understanding of customer requirements and improve exchange. For example, a study tour recently went to the Republic of Korea, and that included interaction with marine fish importers from Busan Metropolitan City and also Food Startup Center. Ladies and gentlemen, today the world is grappling forcing businesses to re-strategize especially the food companies. Food systems play a vital role, a key role in decision-making about climate change in the run-up to the COP27 that was held last month. And also, as you may have noticed, young people and food activists are agents of change are increasing and are likely to shape really the future also for this industry. Let me conclude, ladies and gentlemen, by saying that translating these challenges into opportunities necessitates the government, businesses, and workers' representatives to jointly deliberate and evolve innovative strategies which support private sector development and job-rich, climate-resilient growth. This calls for preparing now for the future by investing in a human-centered approach. I wish the state of Odisha all the success in this endeavor. The International Labour Organization and Office stands ready as a technical partner to offer its support to the state in this trajectory towards a sustainable value chain economy. I do very much thank you for your attention and really hope we can continue this fruitful collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dagmar, to give a global perspective on safety, hygiene, and better management practices, actually very helpful for sustainable growth. Now, the recent advancements are seen in the field of food processing, food packaging technologies, such as modified atmosphere packaging, active packaging, and shown smart, responsive, etc., which has revolutionized this sector, food packaging, and contributed tremendously to the enhancement of shelf life of the array of the food products and provide information about the food and make it more appealing to the consumer. With these words, now I invite our next speaker, Shri Vidhan Das, Regional Head of Indian Institute of Packaging, to throw some light on this very important aspect because it is very important for the food processing industry. We are behind schedule. I would request to the guest speakers to be within the limit of the time.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, very good afternoon to all the speakers sitting in the dais, the officials of the dais, the participants, the state government and central government officials. It is my privilege to be here to deliver the talk. Special thanks to Shashat Mr. Ji, sir, for inviting me in this Make in Odisha event. Thank you very much, sir. So I'll be talking on the packaging. I think, as you know, nowadays packaging is termed as a sunrise industries because, in any product, whenever you manufacture, it requires the packaging actually. As you know, packaging can be, I think they have put my PowerPoint presentation, please. So as you know that basically, whenever we are, going out of our home, we need to wear the dresses. That is packaging for the human body. So we want to attract by other people. So we try to different dresses. So similarly, whenever the products are manufactured to put into the market, so you want our customer to get attracted by the products. Basically, the packaging has to be done accordingly. So we have to do the packaging in very aesthetic way, and also, the design, that is a graphic and structural design, both has to be equally good so that it's attracted by the consumer. And some American Society of Grocery Association, they have studied that more than 65 to 85% people are visiting the shopping malls without any list they want to buy. So how do they going to do the shopping? So shopping is basically done by by taking around in the shop, in the mall and all these things. So it is basically the attraction of the package which is, going to attract the consumer. So how beautifully you design the packaging, it may be a graphic design, excellent graphics, or it may be excellent structural design. So both has to match, and then we can design the packaging so that it will be attracted by the consumer and they will put into the, the trolley and getting the billing and all these things. So, in packaging terms, we tell the packaging, you might be knowing that it is a Government of India enterprise, basically started in the year of 1966. This is our headquarters located in Mumbai, which was established almost 56 years ago by the Government of India and packaging and other industries for the promotion of export from our country. So other than that, we also do formulate the various packaging standard. I don't know. Yeah. This is the background. Basically, it was set up, as I told, 1966 by the Packaging and Allied Industries. We have various branches at all the metropolitan cities: Kolkata, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and Ahmedabad. I don't know. Can you change the slide? Why it is not changing? Yeah, the Chennai was the first regional center established in the year 1971. Calcutta is the second center, 1973 it was established. Delhi 1986, Hyderabad 2006, and the latest branch came up in Ahmedabad in the year of 2017. And last year we have also started one branch in Vizag just to facilitate the export of the pharmaceutical industry. As you know, Vizag is exporting a lot of pharmaceutical product. And as per the international law, that is the UNO, according to the UNO, any packaging any product basically which are dangerous to the nation, that is called as a DG material, dangerous cargo. Shipping, we know it is general cargo, another is called dangerous cargo. So for the dangerous cargo, the packaging has to be certified by an authorized agency. In India, we are the authorized person given by the DG Shipping and DGCF to test the packages and do the certificate, that is called UN certificate. I will next basically that objectives I am going to skip because it may take a lot of time. As I told, the basic objective of IIP is to do the export promotion by packaging design, formulation of packaging, and also participate in the BIS for formulation of various standards for our country. Different activities, basically we do have various courses in the field of packaging. I am going to skip this. Go to the next slide. We are offering one course which is basically very flagship program, that is a 2 years postgraduate diploma in packaging, which started in the year of 1986, and add on now this course is highly interested, and also the track record says that this course is giving 100% placement to the industry, because nowadays the packaging is required by any segment of industry. It may be food, pharmaceutical, consumer good, FMCG, even the e-commerce. The e-commerce business basically it is depending upon the packaging. As you know, the packaging is basically helping the product to reach to the destination by the courier or by the post or any other means. We have various services like consultancy services, research and development and testing. Under the testing, we do the packaging testing and certificate for the dangerous goods. Under the consultancy, we do various formulation of the packaging standard for EPIDA, MPDA, and other organizations, Tea Board, Coffee Board. And also, now coming to the topic, basically, what is the opportunities for the packaging or food processing industry? If you see, India has a diverse agroclimatic zone. I think in the recent food processing manual you have seen, Odisha itself is having more than 10 different climatic zones. So which helps to grow lot of food, vegetables and agro products. So which need to be packed. Whatever the surplus, if we can send to other country, then it is basically we are gaining the foreign currency, which will develop the economy of the country or the state. So where we need the packaging. If you see the condition, means the status of India, it is considered the second largest food producer after the China. And last, go back please. Yeah, the largest producer of milk and cereal. And I believe Odisha itself is huge quantity of milk is been produced. So whatever the product, it has to be packed properly, and then sometime it needs processing also, because the fresh products we cannot store for longer duration. Anything fresh we can keep only for the little bit time. So if we can do the proper packaging after processing, we can store it for the longer duration. So there we need to have a packaging. I think don't change. I am changing with the slide changer. I know it is not working. It's not working. Go back. One more, yeah. So, as you know that I told that the second largest producer of rice, wheat, sugar and fruits and vegetables, and also the seventh largest producer of fish. I think in India, Odisha is the fourth largest producer of the fish. So all this fish, if we can export, so there we need the packaging. So not only the food processing, even in Odisha, we can have a very good opportunity for packaging industries, because in the worldwide, now go to the next slide. Packaging industries is considered to be one of the 10th largest industry across the globe. The global value, if you see, it is I think more than $1,200 billion US dollar. Here you can see the total current value is more than 1,200 billion US dollar, because any industry, packaging is termed as a service industry, which need to provide to the manufacturing or to the service industries. And if you see, it employs more than 5 million people who are working in the packaging, and their job or their livelihood depends on the packaging. And Asia Pacific, India and the China, packaging industry is growing at a very high rate, almost 10 to 15%, and it is expected to grow on the same rate. Go to the next one, please. Yeah, now in packaging industry, there are three industries which is termed the packaging industry. Raw material manufacturing company, then there is a converter who converts the raw material into packages, and the third industry is the packaging user industry. Mostly all these food processing, agro and horticulture products and all these processing industry, they are coming under the user industry who need to use packaging material, and there is a need of huge quantity of converter industry in the state. There is a backend, I think few number of carton manufacturing companies are there in the state, but lot of industry opportunities are there for the manufacturing of the other packaging material like glass containers, plastic containers, and even the metal container, tin and all these things. Go to the next one. Now there are two types of materials which termed as the packaging material. One is called scientific, another is called traditional. Scientific materials are basically the next one. The materials which are scientifically manufactured by the industry with the help of machine like paper, glass, metal and plastic. These four are termed as scientific packaging materials. Now there are paper mill who are termed as the packaging raw material industry. There is a glass industry who manufacture the glass. Then metal, basically in metal there are two metals used in packaging. One is tin plate container, tin plate, another is the aluminium. We know Jamshedpur, very close to Odisha, there is Jamshedpur is manufacturing tin plate. That is the Tata Steel. They have a subsidiary company that is called TCIL, Tata Tin Manufacturing, Tata Tin Plate Company of India Limited. And then plastics, all of you know, in Paradip, Government of India, that is the ONGC has put up a very big plant for manufacturing of the plastic. And as of now, more than I think 50% of the plastic what is produced in our country is going for the packaging industry. Packaging uses huge quantity of plastic, but recently there is a chaos by the flexible packaging of the plastics, because government has put a plastic waste management rule. Initially the rule came in 2016, amended in 2018, and in last 2022 also amended. And from the 1st July 2022, there are some lot of restrictions has come, and the plastic manufacturing, the brand owners and the converter, they has to pay to the fees to the government for disposal. Basic problem is the plastic waste management. So otherwise plastic have lot of benefit in the material. That is why all of us are fond to using plastic. I think if you see since morning till we go to bed, we are using huge quantities of plastic, and without plastic we cannot move ahead. Since from the morning, say toothbrush is made up of plastic, toothpaste, tea, we are having the milk is packing in plastic, but everything is fine. But the problem with the plastic is it has a tremendous problem with the the disposal issue, because the consumers, we are not disposing in the right way. Government is finding very difficulty in collecting these plastics, then segregation and then recycling. That is the process, so it is very difficult. Government is facing problem in collection back. So now at the Plastic Waste Management Rule 2022, government has given that is called EPR, Extended Producers Responsibility. That is the raw material manufacturing company, the converter and the brand owner, the user industry, all has to contribute, and they has to help in collection whatever the material they have used per annum, equal quantity of plastics, they has to collect it from the environment and given to the recycling, so it will be recycled by the recyclers, and then it will be do the solid waste management properly. So that is the problem. Otherwise plastic has a very good properties in that. Next one please. Now in the traditional packaging material, there are few materials which are used traditionally from olden days for the packaging. They are available in our ecosystem. Wherever the scientific materials are not available, we collect it from the ecosystem and using for the packaging. That is called traditional packaging material, like earthen pot, jute bags, the leaves, and what is called the wooden boxes. Now these are replaced by the scientific material, because more and more the wood we use, we are damaging the environment, ecosystem is damaged. And as per the regulation given by the Government of India, Department of Forest, Environment and Climate Change, the use of wood is not allowed other than the heavy engineering, because it is creating deforestation. So we have to go for the scientific packaging materials, maybe of other material like the metal or plastic based material. Next one please. Now there are few materials, go to the next one. These are called as ancillary packaging materials, the materials which are supporting to the packaging called ancillary material. Now you see the global scenario of the different packaging materials. You can see here almost 27 material is a plastic. Back one, next, previous one. 27% is a plastic in the rigid form and 10% in the flexible form. So this is altogether 37% materials is based on the plastic, and then 34% is paper and paperboard, and then if you see metal is 9%, beverage can, that is the aluminum, is 6%, and other material 3%, glass is used as a 11% is the glass. Next one please. And then this slide is very interesting, where you can see the food industry, the food, beverage and healthcare is using almost 80% of the total packaging. So there is an enormous scope as the food pharmaceutical industry is growing. So packaging industry also will go along with them, and there is a huge opportunity for the packaging, and now it will grow in a very high rate. Next one please. Now this is an example of traditional packaging material side by side the scientific packaging material. Basically this product was developed by this packaging was developed by us in the for promotion of the West Bengal government's product, that is basically the Nolen Gur. Nolen Gur is a ethnic product of Bengal, and it was a target for government of West Bengal to export this. So they approached to us, and we had designed the packaging, that is scientific packaging, how this product can be exported. And next one please. Next one. These are all the different types of packaging which was designed by IIP for the government of West Bengal, so that this product can be exported. This is a very cottage level of product. The people and the farmers, they are manufacturing, basically they are climbing the tree, getting the sap from the date palm syrup, and then boiling and making the jaggery. And how do they pack? They are not educated, they don't know technicalities. So they are packing it in an earthen pot which is available in the villages, and government has a issue that they want to export this. So they approach to us, and we help them for designing the packaging for scientifically, and without any preservative. The shelf life of the jaggery is 1 year, 360 days. That product is available. No chemical, no preservative is added to the product. Yeah, next one please. Now there is a slide which is showing the packaging cost. Go next please. Yeah, now sometime we come. Yeah, this is a salt. You see Catch brand of salt. This salt is selling in the market at the rate of 200 gram is costing 35 rupees. So 1 kg is 175 rupees. Can we ever imagine that salt will be so much of costly? The next one you show that. The Tata salt, next one, is selling at the rate of 22 rupees per kg, 22 rupees. So this is the packaging, how the value addition and the cost benefit is coming. So customers are ready to buy anything. You have to make it user friendly, customer convenience, and definitely the attractiveness, the graphics and aesthetics has to be created in the packaging, so that the customers are ready, because the per capita income is going. So people also want to buy everything packaged. And even after the Corona has teach us that don't buy the loose thing in the market, because we have afraid of getting it contaminated. So everybody want to have the packaged product. What is called the growth rate in our country. Next one. Packaging can be classified into 3 basics level of from the functional point of view. The first level is called primary, second level is called secondary, and the third level is called tertiary. Now, if you see, this is the different levels of packaging: primary, secondary, and tertiary. Next one. Yeah, now according to the material property, packaging can be classified into 3 categories depending upon the flexibility of the material: the rigid packaging, flexible packaging, and semi-rigid packaging. Rigid packaging means the packaging which cannot be folded or collapsed in the empty condition, like metal drum, glass bottle, plastic container. These are called rigid packaging. And rigid packaging, because of the rigidity, it has got a high price, and the cost of packaging also will be high. Whereas the flexible packaging is the low cost and the most economical format of packaging. And semi-rigid packaging is something which is basically can be folded like a corrugated box, or maybe a mono carton, which is basically used for packaging of pharmaceutical. If you take out the glass bottle, the carton can be make flat, or any other boxes which you receive by the Amazon. But there are few manufacturers of the corrugated box in this state, other than the other packaging material like glass bottles, metal container, and plastic container is not available in the state of Odisha. They have to get it from other states, where there is a huge scope of the packaging industry, even in the state, who can manufacture, say, glass containers or metal containers or the plastic containers, rigid packaging material for the state. Next, this according to the customer, packaging can be 2 types: consumer pack and the industrial pack. Next one, please. Next. Next. This is one example where IIP worked with the Northeast, that is called Cane and Bamboo Development Center, very recently last year. So government has the agenda that to develop the bamboos, because northeastern states huge quantities of bamboos are growing. So it was a challenge that northeastern bamboo can be used in the packaging industry, because all the 7 states in the northeastern, our northeastern part, they don't have any packaging industry in the states. They don't have any scientific packaging material, but they are growing huge quantity of fruits and vegetables. So how the northeastern products can be come to the mainland? So it was a challenge. So government has given us a task, and we have developed, closely worked with the Northeast Cane and Bamboo Development Center, and designed these bamboo crates for packaging of the fruits and vegetables which are growing in the northeastern states. The next one. These are the different styles we have designed for the states. This is basically used for packaging of pineapple of Tripura. You know, Tripura, the state food has been declared as a pineapple by the Honorable President, I think last year. So the Tripura pineapple was to be packed in these bamboo crates, which is bamboo is usually growing in Tripura. Yeah, next one. This is the scientific packaging we designed for pineapple for packaging, which basically we found that pineapple can be stored 25 days without any cold chain. Normally, the fruits and vegetables we need to apply in a, that is called modified atmospheric packaging, or we can call as a MAS, that is modified atmospheric storage. Basically, this is a scientific term, MAP, which can help the product to be stored for longer duration. So the cold store, basically the low temperature and all these things is basically coming under the MAS, modified atmospheric storage. So this has to be kept in the cold supply chain, and because of the holes and all these things, the respiration will happen and the gases will go inside the box, and the CO2 will come out of the box by this. Yeah, next one please. Next. Next. I just try to finish because time is very short. I think I just quickly show some branded products which give you some idea. These are all flexible packaging. Say nobody like to buy nowadays this type of packaging. You go to the next one, so that graphics is not there, and these packaging are basically not obeying the rule that is called FSSAI. I think next speaker will talk on the FSSAI guideline. So as per the Food Safety Act, minimum some information to be given on the package which will be, which are missing in these packs. The next one please. So FSSAI guideline we have to follow, and minimum information, there are 15 basic information to be given as per the Food Safety Act, packaging and display regulation, that is called labeling and display regulation 2020. I'll show you the bullet points what is to be mentioned in the label. The next one. These are all different types of packaging which to attract the consumers for the different, spices, food and other things. Go. Next one. Next. These are all different, value added or, attractive packaging to attract the consumer in the supermarket. Yeah, next one. Next, this is composite container, which is completely made up of paper. This is made up of paper, giving a similar look like a metal container, but this is a very safe and eco-friendly packaging material made up of paper. Yeah, next one. These are all composite container made for the spices. Next. This is a mono carton, which is basically called as a semi-rigid packaging for different application it can be done. Yeah, next. This glass bottle, I think glass, no, there is not a single company who manufacture glass in our state. Odisha, there is no company. Next one. This is also glass bottle with a metal closure. Yeah, next one. Next one. These are all metal containers. Yeah, next. Go. Next. Very quickly go to the next one. I just come to some recent innovation for the paper-based packaging material. Next. These are a plastic container. Packaging of spices. Yeah, tin. Next. This is a secondary packaging of Amul butter with a paper carton, and then inside there is a butter paper, which is the primary packaging for content of the product. Next. These are all some metal bulk packaging. It is called for bulk export of the chemicals and dangerous goods. So 1,000 liter of chemicals. This is for the FIBC called flexible intermediate bulk container. If you want to export the bulk packaging by the spices, say bulk pack, not by the branding, no consumer pack. So it can be done. One bag can contain 1,000 kg of the product. This is called FIBC, flexible intermediate bulk container for packaging or export of cotton, export of spices and all these things. These type of bags are used. Yeah, next one. Next. Next. This is a product which is not following the FSSAI guideline. I just wanted, next one. Yeah, these are the products, see the local market it is selling, and when no labeling is that. So it is basically, not following the food packaging, or it's called the Food Safety Act, Labeling and Display Regulation 2020, which is a punishable offense, how the Maggi was banned because of this. So normally in our villages, we found the micro and small industries people, they are selling the product like, but they are violating the regulation. You should have minimum information on the pack. Next one. Next. 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 This is for packaging of bulk packaging for agri products for vegetables or maybe horticulture products, potato, onion and ginger. These type of bags are called as a Leno bag. Leno bags are basically made up of polypropylene. For packaging of agri-horti products, these type of boxes can be used. These are all paper-based material used for packaging of agri products, and it has to be stored in the cold chain supply, and through the hole the respiration will go and cool air also will go inside. Next one. These are some basic information of the label which has to be given in the, as per the FSSAI guideline. This is a veg logo, all of you know. From 1st April 2022, the non-veg logo has changed to triangle. Earlier it was also in a square, and then inside a green, it was a red color. But because of the problem, there are some people who are color blind, who cannot differentiate the color. So for that reason, the symbol of the color as well as the symbol has been changed. Earlier it was circle, now they have made it a triangle, which shows the packaging or the food product inside is the non-vegetarian. And then the cross mark has to be given back. Cross mark has to be given on the packaging material, the pack which contains the food not for human consumption. Like say some honey or ghee which is used in the puja purpose, which cannot be consumed by the human being because these are impure. So that has to be come with a cross mark logo that is called food product not for human consumption. Then this is a vegan logo very recently developed by the FSSAI, and Joybik Bharat, all of you know that is organic product has to be coming up with this type of symbol. I think, sir, I will close it here. There are a few more slides because other speaker also has to talk. I will close it here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sridas, to explain about the whole science of this packaging. Now, I would invite our last speaker to speak on this regulatory compliances and the certification. Mr. Rajan Pari, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. The dignitaries on the dais, the dignitary of the dais. Last speaker of the session is always a tough job, and I have been allocated a very, very tough subject also, compliances and regulations in the food safety. But having seen all these generic presentations, which was more of a academic thing from my perspective, let me digress from my presentation, which I have prepared, and come back to you in a different perspective altogether. Perhaps that may keep you engrossed and interested. The first question is, why food safety and why food security? Our intrinsic study today, as we stand today, we are just recovering from the COVID-19. And beyond the COVID-19, what has happened? None of us, we are aware in the world that about 834 million people out of 8 billion people suffer from abject hunger. About 734 million people are just above the poverty line struggling for the food. But I'm not here to speak about this food security. But what I am going to speak here is the challenges of food security connected vis-a-vis the food safety methods. Today, nature has given us a very toxic cocktail. COVID-19, climatic changes, and all this kind of changes which has happened, and the entire humanity, mankind stands devastated. So it is a big challenge for us to meet the food requirements of the entire global population, and alongside, it is not a question of serving food to the people, but it is a question of giving safe and nutritious food to the people, the entire population of the world. As all of us know, that yesterday only, Government of India has taken over as the president of the G20 summit. So it contributes for 85% of the entire GDP of the world. So India as a whole has a big, big challenge to now take a humanitarian look of ensuring food security and food safety for the world population. And we know that the entire headwinds of the global headwinds are not so favorable today because of the global conflicts going on. everything stands disturbed. But in this scenario, we cannot actually shoulder pessimism and move forward. So we need to have a very, very optimistic look, and that is how let's look forward for better days. At this, I just need to pause a bit here, and let me congratulate Government of Odisha, the Honorable CM, his magnificent set of bureaucrats, ministers, cabinets, and the entire machinery of the government who have been here and conducting this, showcasing Odisha as the ultimate destination for investment. By default, Odisha is progressing very, very fast. And yesterday, as I was walking out of the venue, someone told me that one particular company, large industry, has committed an investment of more than one. I was astonished, 3 multiple projects coming up. Anyway, so that's a different perspective altogether. Coming back to see the food safety. Has anyone ever know the significance of 1969 July 21st? Can any one of you tell me? 21st food safety for the astronauts on board, that was Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, to have safe food so they are not contaminated by bad food on the space. Because in outer space, who is going to give them medicines? So that is how the first concept of food safety came into play. Now the word was coined HACCP, the Hazard Analysis of Critical Control Points. But before that, just let's slightly turn back earlier to the pages of history. After the conclusion of World War II, everyone looked at USA to have a common standard, catering to the entire requirement of the world on food safety, because there was so much of war around, so much of deaths, so much of chaos all around. So they all came together and they formed the World Trade Center, the World Trade Organization. 1st January 1995, 1st January in 1945, countries came together to have a common consensus to have food safety standards formulated. And that is why a lot of countries came together and they had a doctrine. The doctrine was written by the Food Agricultural Organization of the World along with World Health Organization, and that became very popular, and till date that is prevalent. But it was enunciated long back in 1945 after the Second World War, but it is still in progress. It was enunciated, and that doctrine is known as the Codex Alimentarius Commission. 167 members came together and they formed this Codex Alimentarius Commission, which underlines the entire global food safety system in the world. And India is the signatory to that, and that was adopted in 2006 by the Bureau of Indian Standards and in 2000 by an act. Parallelly, sir, with that, we also had an act for safety and regulating the food, reaching out to the common man in India, which we started calling, and it was passed by the President in 2006, came in 2007, the Food Safety Standard Authority of India. The act was known as the Food Safety Act of 2006, but it came into force, and 2011 onwards, the rules were promulgated, and the previous rule, which existed in India since 1954, 7 different rules like the milk products, the fruits product, the Prevention of the Adulteration Act, all these were all repealed and put into one bucket, which was known as the Food Safety Standard Act of India in 2006. Today, under the FSSI, we have 26 regulations. We have 26 regulations pertaining to all these things. But the first question comes, alongside there was another international organization who was also coming into force and was accepted by everyone in the world. That came up in 1962. That was known as the International Standard Organization, which is headquarters in Geneva. The International Standard Organization have formulated almost 24,800 standards, including the food standards, and it is obligatory for all food producers across the world to now adhere to the standards which has been given by the International Standard Organization. That is how we borrowed in cononance the BIS, the Bureau of Indian Standards, with the International Standard Organization, we now have the highest standards being prevalent in India. A friend from the packaging industry was mentioning that the BIS standards and the marks on the packaging. Now, as per the Bureau of Indian Standard and as per the FSSAI Act, certain declarations on the packaging is mandatory. For example, a lot of people we consume as a habit packaged mineral water. The infant, by default, they take the infant milk powder nowadays because of whatever reason, social reason. We have the mineral water. We have packaged cereals. And all this, anything which is consumed by a human being is reaching out to all corners. And now, sir was mentioning about the vegan foods as a matter of social right. As a matter of social right, now every consumer has the authority to ask questions to the producer, to the manufacturer of a food business operator, what is there inside this content? What is the nutritious content? Whether it is a vegan food or non-vegan food, whether it is good for human consumption, what it is. What are the nutrient content, how much percentage of potassium, what is the magnesium, what is calcium. All these are declared under the nutrients fact. So certain declarations are mandatory, but otherwise, BI is the licensing authority and FSSAI. For the understanding of the audience, let me tell you, BIS is a licensing authority. They give you a license to manufacture and everything. FSSAI is a regulatory authority which enforces the provision under its own rules and regulation of what is obligatory for the BIS standards. Now coming back to food safety. So what are the challenges? How can a food be contaminated? That is the first question mark. So once we know what is the challenges, what are the threats for a food contamination, then we can easily understand and take the corrective measures to eradicate the entire process. So basically there are three challenges to food safety. The food can be contaminated physically, food can be contaminated biologically, and food can be contaminated like chemically. So we are talking about the total agricultural produce, we are talking about the total marine produce, we are talking about so many other, the total output of the production of the consumables by a human being. But let us see the challenges to the entire food processing sector. Physical contamination is tangible. You can perceive it, you can see it with your own eyes. But when it comes to biological contamination, there we are dealing with microorganisms like what we call the bacteria, we call the viruses, and we have certain microorganisms which contaminates the food. Now what are the, from where does it come? Like bacteria, from the soil where agriculture is raised, from the crop which grows around us, we have two challenges. One is the Clostridium botulinum bacteria which comes from the soil. And the second is Mycobacterium, which last year in 2019 caused 14.9 million deaths in India. That was for tuberculosis. That bacteria causes tuberculosis. This Clostridium botulinum causes your nerve system. Then we have Salmonella. Salmonella comes from any animal's waste products. We have Listeria, we have E. coli. These are the things, if they come into the human body and habitat, you get your problem in your intestine, lower intestine, in different part of the body. So how do we eradicate that? Then comes chemical, excuse me, so I'll be completing in another 5-10 minutes or another 2-3 minutes. The next challenge is the chemical thing. When we speak about the additives we use today, whether it is turmeric, whether it is red chili, whether it is frozen fish, to extend the shelf life, or even for a mineral water, to fortify the mineral water with some minerals, we keep on adding food additives. Like we added so much of chemicals to the food industry, like the seafood industry. We added phosphates, we added sodium metabisulfate. We have so many kinds of chemicals which come into the entire process line. Now well, we cannot avoid using this kind of chemicals and everything, but there has been a prescribed guidelines, which is known as the minimum residue levels by an international committee that comes under the ISO 22000 of the International Standard Organization, to what extent a finished processed product can have a MRL, the minimum residue levels. So that needs to be examined, and so many, since 2000, we have so many non-governmental organizations coming into play. They're like the Global Food Safety Initiative. We now have the Safe Food Certification. We have the Food Certification System Certification. So many things are running parallelly. But at the end of the day, as I tell you, the doctrine remains as Codex Alimentarius, and the journey from the farm to the fork, like from where we produce anything to the end consumer, the journey is very arduous. It is very challenging and zero effect to the environment. Thank you all. I think, it is coming to an closing end. I can see the impatience and the restlessness. So I may be excused, because this is not a chapter to be mentioned in 10 minutes. It takes a much longer time. The depth is too far. But it was just like swimming across a pond and not swimming across the ocean. Thank you all for your patient hearing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I can understand we have not done justice to the speaker, because we have very limited time for that. Anyway, today we have covered all the speakers now, and we had a very fruitful discussion. Now this house is open for interaction, for any question, for any queries. House is open to take questions.
Hello and good evening to everyone. So my question is that I see food industry changing, because consumers are being more conscious what they are taking in today. Today India is changing.
Can you come closer to us so that...
Good evening to everyone. My question is that I see food industry changing a lot, because consumers are being very conscious what they are taking in. You know, they're taking a lot of chemicals inside. So the industry is changing, you know. So how do you see this industry changing from organic taking organic food and, you know, avoiding as much as chemicals, because ultimately it's going to harm human body. A lot of researchers are going everywhere around the world that we should eat that, we should not eat this. So I see processed food changing a lot, the industry being changed a lot, as people are shifting from processed food to eco-friendly organic foods. So what's your take on that, especially Mr. Sharma, since you are a part of a Japanese company and a manufacturing unit, a multinational company. So I just want to ask how you see this industry changing.
Hello. No, yes, you're right. That there is a strong consumer trend towards using less preservatives, using less so-called chemicals. I'd like to provide a little balanced perspective. You know, some of the chemicals or preservatives are used to make sure that the product stays hygienic and healthy for longer period of time. So you'll find, for example, where you don't use preservatives, the shelf life of the product will be 3 months. whereas if you use some preservative, it'll be 1 year. So, there's a reason for that. Having said that, the trend is there, and people like to prefer young consumers like you like to prefer more natural, more organic, less preservative-free products. And the food processing industry is already changing and is going to change towards that trend. It's similar to where we are moving towards less plastic, because again, plastic was there for a reason. It's supposed to protect and keep hygienic, the product. But it's bad for the climate, bad for the environment, bad for the planet. So we are moving away from it. Same thing is going to happen. And definitely industry and brand owners like us, we have to change and go with that.
Any chemicals you use, for that reasons, any product you use in your process line, like you're procuring from anywhere you feel like, there is a prescribed minimum residue levels. Like suppose I use a food, a preservative to give a longer shelf life to my product, any product for that reason in processing food. There is an MRL which is given by the Bureau of Indian Standards, and it is derived from the same doctrine of Codex Alimentarius. Worldwide is accepted, not only in India. The Indian standards also has been borrowed from Codex. So no one has got that freedom to use and misuse any chemicals or anything in the process. Till date it was not regulated. Now under FSI since 2011 with the bucket of 26 regulations are now regulating all the entire food industry in the world. For the largest industry to the MSME to everywhere. And you know that the day is coming up in India when even a street bora wala, dahi vada wala also has to comply with the FSI standards, and each food vendor has to undergo a training in the food safety standards. So no one can just cross that limit, but within that limit, whatever you do. For a small example I'm giving you, which must be very intriguing for you, one of the major and the European Union. And even if the thickness of the polythene is high, that is not acceptable as per the food.
No doubt a very good session. Sir, nowadays the main problem is about food packaging is like microplastic consumption. Like in every food, like there are the percentage of microplastic. So sir, like what steps are taking food industry, packaging industry especially, to reduce that microplastic consumption to the human body?
Basically, when there is a test which has to satisfy. So in industry it is called as normally the term which they call food grade packaging material. Normally the term which they call food grade packaging material or called as a food grade plastics. So we do a test, it is called extractability studies. We do with some chemicals, we expose these chemicals to the packaging material and then we see how much is the leaching out.
Okay.
Mostly from the last 15 years I have seen that this type of plastics like PET bottle, polyethylene, polypropylene and all these things, they have no leaching at all. Very limited or leaching, very less. So as per the even FDA and CFR code, it is allowed that the test says the leaching can be allowed to 10 milligram per meter square or 60 ppm, that is called 60 milligram per liter. It can be allowed, but normally whenever we do the test, you can also refer the standard. It's available as IS 9845 1998 standard, but it is revised in the 2018 BIS standard IS 9845, which is talking about contact with the food packaging. We call as a migration test, and industry they called as a food grade packaging material. So we have to do the test, and normally the common packaging which are used in the food packaging in our day-to-day life, we have never seen that it is going beyond the limit of the dangerous something like that. But yeah, definitely whenever some plastics are recycled, there is a possibility of leaching, and then the microplastics the terms is very correct for the plastics when it has been recycled.
Yes. Sir,
another question,
Thanks.
please.
I'll just add a couple of points to what Mr. Das
Sure.
said. So since we are manufacturers, we, of course, the solution to plastics is to use less plastic, reduce plastic. So in our products, we have been reducing the amount of plastic. For in the cup noodles, for example, now mostly we use paper, and there is very little plastic in the cup noodles packaging. In the pouch, we can use metallized, so the plastic is on the outside and the inside is little metallized, so that what is touching the food is less fresh and safe for a period of time. So all of us have to work together to reduce plastic in the environment and in our bodies also. Yeah. So
Thank you so much. Sir, I have just another question.
We can take only 1 or 2 questions. Kindly, can you give chance to others, please?
Okay, sure.
Good evening. Hello. Good evening. Myself Santosh Das, owner of Glorify India Exports. My question is there any government laboratory that is for food testing? Actually, we don't have getting any such laboratory as of now that is in workable condition in government of Odisha.
No. As far as food testing laboratory concerned, laboratory infrastructure, we are lacking on that. As of now, we have 6 number of laboratories in the state, but that is not fulfilling the entire, in fact, demand of the food processing. That is basically metal testing and all other activities. But we are in a process to enhance our capacities and also to diversify our testing laboratories. And we are keeping also budgetary provision on that. We are working on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Corn from Vietnam and one more inquiry from one of the African countries. So I contacted him. He's into export of corn. So they had certain parameters specified for which he has to run post to pillar to test that. First of all, the customer has to be informed about whether the criteria of the product is meeting to their requirement or not. Thereafter, we can talk about priority sectors that we have to look into. With seriousness, now there has to be immediate access, or we should have products which can be segregated, that these are the products having this kind of quality specification, this much of moisture content, and so on and so forth. So if that is what is done, the export process can be enabled better.
Yeah, actually, can I have your, sir, one moment. Can I have your attention, please? The question is, Export Inspection Council, Government of India, they have a branch office, sub-office in Bhubaneswar. Even the primary mandate is for examination and analysis of seafood. They also do certain food products like rice, honey, milk products, and some other products. I'm not very sure of the entire list. But you can always approach in Nayapalli, the Export Inspection Agency, for any other food products. They have a procedure. You have an Apicol office in Baramunda. So they are the right people to show you the road. Not that we are, of course, but let me tell you, MPDA and EIA, they have the installation of the latest 2 equipments. One is known as the high performance liquid chromatography and the other one is LCMS, liquid chromatography mass spectrograph. So these 2 machines are capable from testing of antibiotics to pesticides to other things. The only thing, your question properly, but if you are industry, DI is the best person to answer. But as far as any product is concerned, and tomorrow you want to market it, like any product in India, as per the FSSAI guideline, you have to declare the nutrition content on the product pack. Okay. So that for any nutrition, establish the nutrition fact, you have only sent to Mysore, the Indian Institute of the Food and Research Organization, to establish the nutrition facts. But for putting up the procedures for setting up an industry, that direct industries can answer.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll go on. I think Sri Pradhan mentioned in his presentation the main, I will just key takeaways I will mention before closing this. That investment is very highly, in fact, beneficial in this sector. This is one. And he has highlighted that there is a huge potential to grow on the inland and as well as brackish water culture. So this is the main takeaway from his their presentation. Mr. Sharma very enthusiastically explained the cooperation extended by the government, and he further, after looking into in this sector, which will also lead the a rural economy with a national and international market. It will establish the linkage, and also all the industries should also adhere the compliance of ILO standard, and all global standards should be adhered. It is both beneficial to the enterprises as well as also beneficial to the employees. And also, she appreciated a lot the effort made by the state government or for women empowerment through Mission Shakti. Mr. Bidhan Das was touching the very important segment of this. Rightly, he mentioned that this packaging is a mute salesman. If you approach to any, any kind of supermarket or any shop, the label itself, the tag itself explain about the detail about the product, what the product is. And the same product, if you purchase without packaging, the price will be very different. Same with packaging will be very different. The packaging is not only is a mute salesman rightly, and it is informed all the processing as well as packaging. It is both are complementary to each other. Food processing will grow, the packaging potential in the packaging will grow. Packaging potential grows, which will also the potential of the food processing grows. It is directly proportionate to. There is huge potential on the packaging industry too. So thanks for all this knowledge. Our next speaker, Sri Rajan Pahari, touched upon because he has that disadvantage being a last speaker, and we were running short of time. He had lot to in fact speak, but he has shared about this compliances, or this compliances is more important for the prospective entrepreneurs. Prospective entrepreneurs doesn't know about that, what kind of compliance actually required for. The insight has been given by the Mr. Pahari in this lecture is very fruitful for all the prospective entrepreneurs too. Please go through that. He has not, in fact, spoken in detail, but he will be always available, be a guide on this issue to you all. And with this remark, I would make this program success. I am very thankful to all the esteemed speakers in the session, and I am positive the recommendations, the feedback and inputs have been given shall be worked upon by us, and so that we can see some significant improvement in the food processing sector in near future. I convey thanks to all the distinguished participants, our association members, investors, all other dignitaries, our guests from the central government, state government, coming all along from distant places to attend this conclave. The delegation throughout the day were enriched by our overwhelming and active participation. We hope that this conclave will provide an effective platform to enable intensive interaction with the stakeholders. An event of this kind, it is diamond and cannot happen overnight. The wheel starts rolling in advance. We have been fortunate enough to be back. This is the end of the program. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sri Alam, for moderating this session so wonderfully. Could I now request our Principal Secretary, Shri Saswat Mishra, to please come on stage and felicitate all our panelists here. As a token of appreciation, we would like to present them with mementos, and indeed a very engaging session. And thank you all our audience who've been with us throughout the session. All in the family. All right. Thank you once again, everyone. And we'll have a group photograph. Yes. All right. Thank you. You guys have been a wonderful audience. Of course, tomorrow is another full of sessions. Different sessions are there from Mission Shakti, from tourism, other sectoral sessions as well. So if you want to be a part of the conclave tomorrow as well, do be a part of it and be with us tomorrow too. Also for the evening, I would also like to announce all the audience here, there's a cultural program